Good morning. I am Beth Freeman, and I am the Career Readiness Coordinator for the Kearney School District. And I am also a part of an organization called NEBA, the Northland Business and Education Alliance. Education and Business Alliance. And NEBA is a network of education and business organizations in Clay and Platte counties whose vision is to promote and provide business-driven educational opportunities for you, our next generation of business leaders. So we appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate our panelists joining us today. And so far this event has been wonderful, and I expect that it'll continue to be that way as the day continues. I will be your host during the session, and we also have two other NEBA members helping kind of behind the scenes, kind of here as a co-host, I guess. Natalie Barner from Park Hill School District and Amy Washam from Northwest Missouri State University will be helping with today's session. A couple of quick things before we get into introductions of our panelists. First of all, this will be a 40-minute session. We will have to cut off right at 11:40 just to get prepared for our next session as they are continuing throughout the day. I will start with introductions of our guests, and then we want to turn it into more of a conversation. So there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen for those of you at home, and we encourage you to use that. We want to hear from you. We want to make this session as helpful as possible for you at home. Also, after the session ends, if you'll stick around for just a few more seconds, you'll see a pop-up with a survey, and the survey is just going to ask you a few questions about how you felt about the session, and then maybe even any suggestions for future events like this virtual career fair. Let's see, I think that is it. Oh, one more thing. This will be recorded and it will be available online for you to check out later if you would like to go revisit some of the things we discussed today, or even check out some of the other sessions that you weren't able to attend live. All right, so I would like to thank our panelists for today. We've got Julie Sola from Harrah's Casino. Hi, Julie. And we've got Rita Vongkhamchanh-Strickland from Fogo de Chao, and she is going, I practiced, and she is going to give us some information about the industry as well. So Julie, if you would like to start and just give us a brief background on your education background, your professional background, and just give us a little information about yourself.
Sure. Hi, my name is Julie Sola. I am the Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Harrah's in Kansas City. So Harrah's Casino and Hotel. You probably have not been here, but you probably have heard of the business. I started when I was 20 years old. I was finishing college. I have now been here 25 years. So this is my 25th year of being right here in Kansas City. I have not left. I finished college while, what I thought started as a part-time job here. And I did graduate from Park University with a BS in marketing management. And I thought, well, gosh, this is just a part-time job for me. And what happened was I ended up falling in love with the business, and I've just never left. So I consider myself a lifer. They're going to have to probably kick me out. I am the very first female GM for the property, which I'm very proud of. I think it's just misrepresented, I guess, in a lot of ways. One of the things that I love about the hospitality industry, and I know that, I know Rita well, we served on a board together, but one of the things that I love about the hospitality industry is you can have, 15 mini careers all kind of under one roof. So from the time that I started, like I said, I started as a cashier, again, part-time job, going to college. And quickly saw that I could be promoted by just working hard and having a good attitude. And the hospitality industry is one that we always say, if you come with the right attitude, that we'll train you on the skills. And I believe in that. And I am a living, breathing person that happened for. So quickly, I started in finance. I moved to operations, really on the gaming side. Then I moved to customer service. Then I moved to human resources. Then I moved to human resources and marketing, human resources and hotel, back to operations as the vice president of operations, to assistant general manager, to now where I sit as the general manager. So kind of a very quick tour of my tour of duties, but it just goes to show that, you know, you can start in one position and continue to move along, but still get a really wide breadth of knowledge, really kind of under one industry or one roof. So that's kind of how I started. And I guess I'll turn it over to let Rita introduce herself.
Well, that's going to be hard to follow. I know you got good credit over there. So 25 years means consistent. That's good credit. Well, my name is Rita Vongkhamchanh-Strickland. I actually had a full ride for industrial engineering at University of Arkansas. I decided to not pursue that completely. It was something that my parents, they came as refugees from Laos and gave me options of, you have to be a doctor, an engineer, a pharmacist, or somewhere in like the corporate world, like a vice president of some company. So luckily, thank you, America, I was able to step away from that and kind of pursue what I really loved. And I was able to start with Citibank. So I have found that God has given me the gift of gab, and I did really, really well in sales. Like, it was a man's world. And, you know, I saw like how successful these guys were, and I wanted to be just like them. But they were a little bit different in regards to how they built their relationships. I really cared about the person themselves and building that relationship with that guest or that person I was on the phone with. And I was able to build myself to become number one in the company. After moving on to Citibank, I am a little bit a passionate, artistic kind of person. So I got a job as a director of a daycare. I realized that, you know, kids are not my forte. So I decided to move back into the sales world and get into the telecommunications world, which I like thrive there. So I actually started with Sprint, and I had a national business account, and I held over 200 to 400 national business accounts. And the shift there, I was diagnosed with PTSD. Kind of make a long story short, I was a victim of rape for about 8 years in my childhood. And I did not realize I had mental health issues until my husband had kind of told me, like, you know, there was nights I was like shaking or trembling, and I was really sad and depressed. I'd find myself like crying all the time. No one could make me happy, right? I was a very happy person, but you didn't know deep inside that I was just really, really struggling. So I got myself some help, and I was able to really, truly find like what Rita really wanted. And I enjoyed the hospitality world, and that's where I started my business, in Strictly Proverbs 31, with my daughters. My oldest is now 15. She does the accounting side for me, and then my youngest is the artistic creative side for me. And then I thought I needed more kind of more skills and more experience. So I took the role as a sales manager at Main Event. And after a few years, I realized after COVID had a big impact on me, because I was driving about 45 minutes to an hour from work, because I live in Raytown, and my girls are virtually learning. I had to kind of make a shift, and I found a opportunity here at Fogo de Chao, and here I am now today. I am more excited, happy than ever. So no pandemic can take ever my sunshine again, because I've really, truly found myself and found myself well. And I think it's important at this point of time to really build and check on your people. And that's where I strive and succeed, is knowing that everyone else is doing good. It makes me feel that I'm doing well. So that's kind of my gist of everything.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to learn more, and I know our audience members are too. I see the questions piling up. So I'm going to hand it over to Natalie, and she's going to give you some questions from the audience. Audience members, don't forget that if you have something that you want to ask, please just click on the question and answer box at the bottom and let us know how we can help you as far as getting you the information you need today.
Awesome. Well, thank you ladies so much. And thank you for sharing your story, Rita, and being so brave and being vulnerable and sharing that with students. I think, you know, as teachers, Beth and I, we appreciate that. And we want all students to understand that it's okay to be vulnerable and to be able to share your story. So looks like we have two very different spectrums. We have Julie, who's been a lifer, like you said, and then we have Rita, who's bounced around a lot. And so do you have any advice to people, to students, you know, that don't exactly know what they want to do? I know, Julie, you said you started off just as a cashier and worked your way up. Did you dream that's where you would be, or did you just continue on that path and it took you to where you are now?
Yeah, no, I did not think that I would really stay, you know, in, you know, the casino business, quite frankly. I thought that this was short-lived. It was going to help me get through college. I quickly found that in the hospitality industry, and specific to casinos, I could speak to casinos, we have a really rich tuition reimbursement program. So when I graduated with 0 student debt. So I'm just
amazing.
making that really clear. My husband, we still pay on his, and I rub it in his face quite frequently that I don't have any student debt thanks to my work. But no, I mean, initially I was like, oh, this is kind of a fun job. It's different every day. It's the people business, right? So when you work in hospitality, you know, I kind of look at hospitality in 3 segments. You have kind of accommodations, right? Hotels, Airbnbs. Then you have kind of the food and beverage segment of hospitality. And then you kind of have travel and tourism. And we group casinos, amusement parks, et cetera, in kind of the travel and tourism sector. And I never thought of it as a career. And then until I really got involved and started to see all of the dynamics that, oh, a casino isn't just, you know, slot machines and table games and restaurants. You know, a casino is a finance department. A casino is an HR department. A casino is a marketing engine. It's entertainment. There were so many facets of the business that like really started to intrigue me. So, you know, while you pointed out that I have been here for a long time, I've bounced around. I mean, I don't think I would be able to be here if I was still doing finance from day one, right? But the fact that there was so many opportunities for me to learn different facets of the business, you know, really paved the way for kind of what my career has been. You know, I use the example of my background is not in HR, but I was the VP of HR here for 5 years. During that time frame, we won the best place to work in Kansas City, have been on that list for 10 years. But it was just the place offers you the experience and trust that you're going to do the work. Paid for me to get my SHRM education, right? Society of Human Resource Management. So I didn't have those skills, but you know, it really gave me the freedom to do those kinds of things. So I never thought that I would be sitting in this chair right now when I first started 25 years ago. I think my dream job was to be a casino host. I thought, oh, the casino host, they get to go on trips with players and they get to do all the fun stuff. And, you know, I've certainly, you know, surpassed that, but that was kind of my dream job. And, you know, here I sit today and you know, obviously really thrilled with the fact that I get to run this business and make a huge impact to our employees, our guests and our community. But, you know, I just look at the sky's the limit. You know, we have 50 casinos all over the world and just lots of really great experiences to pursue. So that's kind of why I'm still in it, right? I still have the spark. I still have the energy. I haven't lost any of the drive or passion because it's different every single day.
That's awesome. Congratulations. All right, Rita, so you've moved around a lot. And did you ever foresee yourself where you're at now? And why did you move around so much?
Yes. So like I mentioned before, my parents only gave me, they always would tell me books and no boys. That's the only thing. And I'm like, what about the friends that would do me wrong? Or, you know, like, what if like my feelings, like they did not care about my feelings at all. And so I was like, well, I guess I will be an obstetrician. And then I was like, I'm maybe an engineer. So I remember working at Chuck E. Cheese. I was a mouse.
That's awesome.
And yes, I will sing you the happy birthday song at the end if you like. I got that Chuck E. Cheese song for y'all. So I remember being a mouse, and I was like this little petite little mouse, and this like fifth grader pushed me, right? And my head, the mouse head came off. This like little girl starts screaming. They're like, "A mouse, that's an Asian woman." And I like ran and hid in the bathroom. Was, this is not what I want to do. This is not what I want to do. And you know, I went to like, okay, this is what I'm going to go to school, and I'll just be engineer just to make my dad happy, you know, happy. And I realized if I would take in some years back and actually addressed my mental health, I don't think I would have jumped around quite a bit, because you got to remember all my 20s, I was very suicidal. I was like, I would cry on the like I would cry on Titanic. I would cry watching Mean Girls. I mean, like, I didn't know what was going on with me. And so I had realized I was doing so well with sales. Like, sales was always something that was a sunshine to me, that I did really well with. And then relationships, sales and relationships was like the two big things that I knew that was just so great. Like, I could do really great with this because I really care about people, and I really care about making revenue for a company. And so now to this day, my relationship with my parents are still a little iffy because they joke that I didn't finish college. But I moved myself up. You know, I was a telemarketer, calling people, telling them to have 0% interest on their credit card for 18 months. So, you know, then I moved on from there, and I learned to be a trainer, became a manager, and then have 14 years of management experience. So now I have truly found myself, I think it's to the point, because like I mentioned, when I was younger, I wanted to be an obstetrician and also own a dance studio, because I did dance for 15 years, and an art studio. Like, I didn't know how I was going to manage that. But guess what? Now I'm a sales manager that I'm very confident in my walk. I have very mental health wellness, and I have my own little small wedding business that I do artwork and do creative ideas for weddings, and also decorate people's homes. They pay me on the side, and that's what I thrive on. So I'm like a full 360 now. So it's just everything. I mean, I wish I found it earlier, but I don't think I would be a strong mom if I didn't go through the things I did today, so that I can teach my daughters wellness as well. So I think it's important to have that open conversation. They know that, you know, they know my history, me being raped. They understand why I'm such a helicopter mom. Like, don't talk to this person. I know you're playing Fortnite and you want me to pay you some skins right now. But I don't trust whoever you're talking to. And TikTok's been a thing that we have to really monitor. Even though I got a couple of little dance going on, I can do some TikToks, but it just made me who I am today. And I would never, ever take that away.
Great. Thank you. We do have a question in here for both of you. What is the most important thing about your job, like on a day-to-day basis? And we'll start with Julie.
I think that's a
big
pretty
question.
difficult question to answer. I mean, I think that everything starts with the people. You know, we run a really large business, you know, both with employees and guests and vendors, and, you know, just outreach to the community. And, you know, we had a CEO several years back named Gary Loveman. He was an economic professor before Caesars recruited him from Harvard. And he wrote a book called The Service Profit Chain. And the service profit chain in itself really was the foundation of our business for a long time. And to summarize it, it was basically like, it all starts with the people, right? Your internal employees. And if you do a really nice job taking care of your internal employees, they're going to be happy and satisfied. And then that's going to translate into providing a really great service experience for our guests, which then in turn, you know, keeps them loyal, brings them back, which then gives you your profits, your EBITDA, your, you know, financial position. And, you know, that has stuck with me for really ever since it was introduced, you know, 20 years ago, was this idea of everything starts with the people. So we always try to create an environment where our employees are happy and satisfied. It's exactly why, you know, we were nominated as the best place to work in Kansas City for as many years as we were. because everything starts with the people. And if you can treat people like family and take care of them and think about, work schedules, because let's face it, this is a tough business. We're open 24/7. We've never closed our doors, not in snowstorms, not on holidays, not on weekends. And so we recognize that that's a big sacrifice for people. So, I think that is the most important thing is to circle back and, when we're like trying to figure out what, a problem that we're trying to solve or how to make more money, we always go back to the people, and whether that's solicit their feedback or get them involved in the process. It is our number one asset. And so we want to make sure that we take care of that asset.
Thank you. Rita, what does your day-to-day job look like, and what is the most important part of it?
I'm going to echo what Julie as well. It's the relationships that you build. The most important part for me, of course, as a sales manager, is to bring revenue to this store, to this center. Of course, with COVID switching, we have to be able to be like resilient and thinking outside the box. My goal is to make sure that we don't shut down again, because a lot of our employees couldn't get unemployment. So imagine all these months we were shut down and they have no means or no funds. What do you do? And I cannot have that on my mindset, my heart, to know that these people will not be able to have any means to financially take care of their family or themselves. So it's important that I do everything I can to steer my thoughts of how I can bring revenue. So everyone may fully aware Monday, we've got changes on COVID, like restrictions even further to 50% in the restaurant and 10 max people. So now we're at to steer a little bit. Okay, so we have these restrictions where things are probably going to get worse. We cannot get to the point where we shut down again. So now it's this mind thing. It's just the most important thing is, can you be resilient in thinking of other ways? Because yes, the people are important. So how can I make sure that we keep the business afloat? So I was telling Ms. Julie, Natalie, and Ms. Amy earlier that we're thinking about doing an outside cafe of where we can be outside. We have a tent and we can serve our unlimited Brazilian indulgent meats and still have a market table, which is like our vegetarian, our vegan table. So that our guests can still come out, feel comfortable. Even if we have to shut the dining area down, we're going to do outside dining. So that's the biggest challenges is steering with this pandemic, but keeping yourself motivated, having something to drive you all the time. Like you have to know where where you are to know where you're going. And for me, I know where I'm going because I want to be able to show my children that I was able to get through the most traumatic thing that I could never wish on anyone ever. So what can you do about it? And that's important is to be able to continue to build and drive revenue, continue to build full relationships with your staff, not just, like, hey, how are you doing? Like really sit down and talk to them. We actually have our meetings where in the manager meeting, it says, how is family? We go around and talk about family and how we're really doing, because that's important. If you're not mentally well, you're not going to do well at anything. And if you don't have like a joy inside of being here, being grateful, like Julie said, you can be taught a skill, but you can't teach drive or motivation. That's so important right now. Like we have to be even more resilient than ever with the pandemic.
That's fabulous advice. And that kind of goes along with another question that a student asks is, what advice would you give to a group of amazing high school students who are looking to become successful professionals? I think you just talking about staying motivated and staying driven and knowing their purpose is probably the best advice that we could give you guys as high school students. Okay, moving on. In a restaurant world, Julie, this might be for you since you've kind of moved up a lot and started at the cashier. And a lot of high school students, work in the restaurant industry, the restaurant business as a entry-level job. And they wanted to know what the best advice is to be able to avoid that turnover and then how to be able to move up in a company like you have.
Yeah, I too was a restaurant. I went to 17 different schools and 5 different colleges. People ask all the time if my dad was in the military, and I said, no, he's in hospitality. So clearly that was in my blood, but we moved around a lot because he was, district manager of, some pretty significant restaurant chains throughout my years. And, so I grew up in the restaurant, right? And I grew up as the hostess and then, moved to serving or And I think you have to see beyond your current job. You have to really think about, okay, this is certainly a job that you might pick up a couple of shifts during the week, or you might work the weekends to, kind of help pay for your social life or whatever activities that you have. But you've got to see beyond that and see what jobs that you want to have, and whether that is to continue to be at the same place that you are, or if you want to move up. I think for me, and I tell even our employees this now, you're interviewing for your next job today. And so regardless of what position you find yourself in, every day that you walk into work, it's about doing extra, taking on more, doing a little bit more for that next job. We used to have applicants that would, for HR positions. That's always a really interesting position people want to work, because it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and there's not many of those in our industry. And they would say, oh, well, when I get the job, I'll do X, Y, and Z. When I get the job, I'll start being more charitable. When I get the job, I'll get more involved. And so I always say, do that now. Right? So if you're just a server, or, if you're at an entry-level cashier position, start doing the little bit of extra for the job that you want. And that helps paint you as the undeniable candidate for when there's a position that is yours to take, because you've already started doing pieces of the job and you're showing kind of that work ethic and that tenacity to take on more. So that's probably, some advice that I would give. And then just look outside of your, immediate surroundings, right? There are other jobs within a restaurant, or within a gaming industry, or with even a Worlds of Fun or a hotel. There are always jobs that you probably have never, ever thought were behind the scenes, because you just see what's in front of you. So I just would encourage people to look beyond what's right in front of them.
Great, thank you. All right, so I think as both women in the industry, how do you make it as a woman in the industry, and how do you make sure that that you are heard?
Rita, I'll let you go first.
Okay, Rita.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you guys mentioned earlier that I was in a man's world. I'm back into a man's world with the restaurant world. For me, it was not only being a woman, it's also a woman of color. So I would remember myself, even kind of getting to the level of making fun of myself so I could fit in. There's a stereotypical joke out there with Asian women doing nails. And so I would always make that joke and do the Asian accent. Oh girl, I'll do your nail for you. And I realized that wasn't really funny. Like, why do I think that's so funny? I don't want my daughters to feel like they have to kind of to go into a level of stereotype just to fit in. And I realized, like, no, that's not enough. I can be respected as a woman, and I can be respected as a person of color, and have that level of respect. Now, a lot of times people will know that a lot of women who are like, I'm gonna put my foot down, they could be known as another word, right? But with men, they're like, oh, he knows what he wants, and he's just got his head on the right shoulders and whatnot. But if female does it, it's a little bit different for us. So we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that quite a bit. But that's why that personal relationship comes when they get to know you. They're like, okay, I see where she's coming from. I see her story. And it's important. So it is a man's world, but having a woman makes everything so much even more like colorful. Because if that man is more open and understand that they could put their guard down, because I was stubborn, like I'm not going to let a man like run me. It was a difficult subject for my husband and I, because he is a manly man and I am a female. And I had trouble of saying, okay, well, you're going to lead me, but I wanted to lead. And I realized Rita leading everything doesn't work out. And so we would fail. And then it's just allowing yourself to be able to know that it's okay to step back and have him lead, or vice versa. Find whatever's best skills that you have and best quality that you can bring to the table, and add to that. And I want to add to Julie from prior with being a server. Serving is so hard. I think every single person should serve at least a year in their life, carrying everything, dealing with guests, and not all guests are nice. They're not nice. Is being able to build that grit. Sometimes it sucks, but you got to suck it up. It makes you a stronger person, and it makes you more kind of resilient. I walk in every day through these plaza doors and I see at least 4 homeless people every day. And that's what I remember is like, I got to get myself into a platform where I could help this man next time. So he doesn't have to beg. He's going to be in a place where he's going to rehabilitate. I can get in his space and help. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's mentioned, it's up to them as well. And that's why mental health is so important. Just to be confident in yourself, no matter if you're a man or a female. It's just important just to be confident in yourself and work really hard and take yourself seriously and have fun too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else to add, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I would just echo the sentiment about it's all about relationships. And I think that you have to get involved and just assert yourself and just build the relationships. You know, I've had the opportunity to sit on several boards in Kansas City, and you know, networking and, you know, just proving your talent day in and day out, I think is just a really important skill set. You got to put yourself out there and just, you know, make yourself known and get involved.
Great, thank you. All right, going to the HR side of it, Julie, do you have any advice or what do you look for when you are hiring people? So a lot of the students that are on here, you know, will be looking for jobs in the next few years, professions. What advice would you give them as they start on their adventure of looking for a career or a job?
Yeah, I mean, I think attitude is everything. We say that all the time about, you know, we hire for attitude and we train for skill. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, whether people believe this or don't believe it, you know, there's a lot of opportunity really in every industry. And when I first applied for the cashier supervisor job, so this was when I was in finance and I applied for the cashier supervisor job, I was turned down 3 times. And, you know, I was like, I don't get it. Like, I'm the best cashier. I do not understand why I am not getting this leadership role to lead people. And, you know, it took me a long time in hindsight to recognize that I really wasn't ready. And the people that were making the hiring decision and doing the interviews, you know, saw things in me that I still needed to improve on, probably a little bit of my ego and, you know, things of that nature. Right. And, you know, I think that you just have to like trust the people that are your superior bosses and just make sure that you get a lot of feedback along the way and you continue to work on things to make yourself better every single day. It's a work in progress. You're not going to get promoted overnight because you're the best at what you do. It's about true kind of career readiness and making sure that, you know, you have the right attitude and you show the work ethic. And, you know, I used to say all the time, like, the money will come, right? If you work hard enough and if you are diligent enough and you put in the time, the effort, the money will come. And it's just a matter of listening to what people have to say and working on those things every day.
Thank you. I appreciate you both talking about that you both failed before and you've had to overcome that. And I think that's something very important that students need to understand and hear, that it's okay to fail. You know, we have these expectations, and like Rita was talking about, the expectations that were put on you, and then failing and being okay with failing and just knowing how to overcome that and having that grit like you talked about. So I appreciate that. We have about 4 minutes left. A couple of rapid fire questions. Would you rather wear heels and makeup or boots and jeans? And I don't know who asked this. Actually, I do. It says Olivia. But boots and jeans is not what I would put. I would put sweats. Would you rather heels and makeup or sweats and a hoodie?
I'll answer that.
Yeah.
I am a lash queen, contour queen, and high heels. I have high heels on now, which is a funny story. I actually broke my ankle wearing flat boots. High heels, I can run so fast and catch a criminal, okay? But tennis shoes, don't get me in tennis shoes. I trip, my ankle shakes, but I just love feeling good. And sometimes sweats, I will wear some heels too, but Saturdays is a little dress down day because I am with my daughters and they're a little rougher. When I mean rough, they like to wrestle. So I have to be prepared for that. Last time I wrestled them, my high heels, I actually kicked them on the head with one of my stilettos. So just for incident report safety reasons, tennis shoes on the weekends.
Gotcha. Julie.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I'm, heels. I'm not a big makeup girl, as you can see how beautiful Rita is, but I dress my job, right? But I do wear heels at work and try to dress appropriately. I'll tell you, the minute that I get home, I'm in my yoga pants. I can't walk in the door quick enough and kick off my shoes and put on my slippers and yoga pants where I finally get to relax. So it's a combo of both for me.
Yes. Great. Thank you. And really quick, one more question for both of you, if you can answer quickly. How do you balance that work-life schedule? Rita?
Okay, for me, okay, so with Main Event, I was working 70, 80-hour weeks. And so husband came to Jesus moment with me, was like, Rita, we are at COVID. You have a whole family, a husband and 2 kids. You've got to know how to turn it off. Because I would check my emails on my phone, I would check my weddings, I would do all these things, and my kids are talking to me and they're like, Mom, we always repeat what we have to tell you 10 times, you're not listening. I'm so sorry. So with this new job, I've realized there's a balance. There's a balance that you have to have. If you don't shut it off, you may lose your family here because they're the one that kept me going throughout these years. Would I prefer losing my job or losing my family? And I had to make that decision. So because I am such a go-getter and always wanting to work and just be successful and be like this next president of the United States, psych, I really don't want to be the next president of the United States. But it's just being able to know how to turn it off and know when you can reply to emails. I don't reply to emails after 7 because once you do, guess what? They're going to reply at 9, 10, they expect you to reply back. So that's just really what it is shut it off and be engaged with your family at the end.
Yeah, I have 2 young girls, and I sit on a number of boards, which consumes a lot of time. And then you try to do all the activities for your kids that you possibly can. Oh, and by the way, spend time with your husband and family. And it's a constant battle. I wouldn't tell you that I have it figured out yet. I would tell you that, I make time where it's, dinner time is the appropriate time to spend with my family and getting my kids to bed. And sometimes at night I'll log back in. We have a 24-hour business and it doesn't shut off because I'm at home. And, sometimes there's $1 million decision that needs to be made at 1 o'clock in the morning. And, somebody's got to make those decisions. It's also what the parts of the job that excite you and get you pumped up about, just challenging situations at really crazy odd hours. But I would tell you it takes a village. And, we lean on our neighbors to help, do rideshare. We lean on my parents and my husband's parents. It just takes a village, and you have to recognize that you can't do it all and pick the most important things that I call them the MGF moments, the might get fired moments, right? Focus on those and make sure you got those locked down. And then just rely on other people. I have found that people want you to be more successful than they want you to fail. And so you got to just recognize you can't do it all and say no where it's appropriate. And, say yes for the things that really drive your passion or inspire you. So, maybe I should turn it off at 7, right? I mean, I'd love to say that that's reality, but in some cases it's just not. And I think that varies by job too. So,
yeah. Thank you. We had one person type at the end. Thank you, ladies, for your time. It's really helped me with what I want to be after graduation. So thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Beth now, and she's going to do our closing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hate to cut it off because I think this has been the most
valuable,
fun session of the day. I do want to thank you guys again for joining us and giving us insight into your business area, and then also just personal things as well. I guarantee you helped a lot of our students that were in the audience. You heard from at least one. So I do want to remind students that after this session is over, there should be a survey that pops up if you just want to give us a little bit of feedback. Also, if you want more information on any of the sessions, this one or one that you were not able to attend live, you can go to the NEBA website, which is www.nebaworkskc.org. And there's lots and lots of information there. So again, thank you everybody and have a great day.
Thank you.